Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Coffee Talk with Soy, your new morning show where real talk happens every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Good morning, good morning. How y'all doing? How y'all doing in the cafe? Are you ready for some hot and steamy conversation this morning? What you drinking on? What you sipping on? Caramel macchiato? That's my favorite beverage right there. That's how I get my day started. Hot and steamy.
My mother and I had a fantastic relationship.
This is Steven, and I just wanted to share.
You should always be in a place where you're celebrated. Life is too short to stay somewhere and tolerate it.
If you cannot help a person, don't hurt them, especially with women. Soy's just whole essence is to bring out the best in other people.
Something that touches other people, and that's what your show does. It's not just conversation as you started. It actually has a purpose.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, happy Saturday. Welcome to Coffee Talk with Soy, your new morning show where real talk happens every Saturday at 10 a.m. It's your girl Soy bringing you stimulating conversation to the Brew Nation. It's always a joyous occasion here in the cafe. Think on it, drink on it, let's talk now. If soy means I am, therefore you are bold, beautiful, intelligent, amazing. And when you're on this show, you are leaving your inabilities and insecurities to be tested and rested while you have real talk with soy. So welcome to the cafe, y'all, where you can always come in and unapologetically be you. Yes, indeed, be you, be you, be you. It is it's a blessed day here in Atlanta. There's liquid sunshine out there, and that's the kind of day where you want to really kind of sit back and relax and restore, and get some home projects done, do some self-evaluations. I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but whatever it is and wherever you is, make the best of it. So good morning to all of you who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube and on the Twitch channel. We love you there. So just tag someone and share this podcast with them. We're going to have a very interactive podcast today. So I invite you and welcome you. If you have questions about the content or have comments about the content, do use the tools to share your communication. Questions, comments, we'll try to get them on the air, but definitely come on in, invite a friend, so we can have some real talk, right? How about that? Real talk. So I had the opportunity of having this conversation with this amazing guy, and he was telling me about his background, his past, and his experience that he had with the child support system. And it was such that he decided to write a book about it because he wanted to share his experiences with other men so that they don't fall prey to the same things he fell prey to or what he experienced. Y'all, this guy who wrote the book, his name is Antonio L. Brooks. He is not here in the cafe with me today, but I interviewed him a few days ago, and I want to share that interview with you about what Antonio shared with me. Y'all check this out. Listen up. Yep. All right, we're trying to pull that snippet up for you. So give us a few minutes, well, a few seconds, and we're going to air the interview with Antonio, who is the author of a book that he wrote called Child Support, how he paid it and still made it.
Hey, Antonio, it's Soy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad to be back on the show. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. 2021 has had its challenges, but it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey for me personally, and as well as the show. And things are going great. How about you? How's 2020 been treating you? I mean, 2021, that is.
It's been coming along beautiful. I'm blessed to say that I'm working on part 2 of my book. I'm on chapter 18 as we speak right now. Going back and forth with my editor about a few things. My other business, which is Soul Brother Cigars, is steadily growing. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing. 21 has cursed some people and it blessed other people to be, bigger entrepreneurs, and I'm one of those people.
Well, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And you're talking about part 2. You're talking about part 2 of the book. There's more to the story?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So it's hot and juicy. So I try to write it from the perspective of, most time when men talk about child support, and normally women look at it as if they're putting the women down or they're talking bad about them. But, I just try to write it from a perspective of something that I actually lived and went through. And I put it in my own words. I tried to make it sensible, reality, and you got a little comedy to it, but for the most part, you get the gist of what's going on and what took place in my life.
All right, y'all. So his book was titled Child Support, How I Made It. Child Support, How I Paid It and Still Made It. So tell me about the book. Tell me about your experience, and tell us why did you choose to share this information about yourself and your experience.
Well, basically, in a nutshell, I have a son and a daughter. My son now is 22. My daughter's 24. When I broke up and separated with the mothers, I worked for Dade County Public Schools. I worked for a county entity. And when we broke up, I wasn't one of them fathers that, wanted to go back and forth with, the bickering about money or whatever. So I went to my job and said, look, take this money out of my check and dispense it to them. I would get paid on Thursday. They would get a check from my job, which is Dade County Public School, and it would say to the mother of my kids, in care of the kids and the amount. And they would take it right out of my check and give it to them. So as a father, I'm thinking I'm doing what's right, what I'm supposed to do, being there for my kids financially and the whole nine. But, sometimes women can be influenced by either other family members, friends, or perhaps if that man gets into another relationship and that relationship starts to progress. Then, vindictively, some men get put on child support. And don't get me wrong, you have some men that deserve to be on child support. I got some friends, they'll dump more money into their car with rims and stereo equipment and paint jobs and things like that instead of their kids. So I get certain aspects of it. If a man is doing those things and aborting their kids, then I get it. But if a man is actually trying to be part of the children's life and, providing financial, their financial responsibility, paying the life insurance, paying health insurance, in my case, I had Florida Healthy Kids. I paid for that. And I paid, Florida prepaid college fund. I'm doing what I think I'm doing as a father. I later found out everything that I was doing was not the right thing. And I got a call down at my job to come to, the front of the building. And when I got there was a lady, and she said, "Are you Mr. Brooks?" I said, "Yes, I can help you." She said, "You've been served." And I said, "Served with what?" So she said, "Well, sir, just read the document and then, follow the instructions." I ripped over the envelope and realized I got served with child support papers. And right then, my blood pressure went up and I went into the matrix. I said, "Hold on, wait a minute. You got the wrong person." I said, "I'm already paying life insurance, health insurance, and money comes out of my check every 2 weeks for her. So I don't know why you bringing me these papers." I'm totally oblivious to this. We already have child support established. So she said, "Sir, just go ahead and follow the document and make sure you make the court date." So in my mind, I'm saying, I don't need to get an attorney because everything that this document says, I'm already doing. I don't need to get an attorney. Insurance, health insurance, providing financial support for the kids. I'm already doing it. So, lo and behold, I get to court. Before I go to court, I go to my payroll department and I said, I need you to give me a printout of all the money that I've given her for the kids from day one. Give them my employee number. They go and type it in, and the lady sits back in her chair. I said, man, what's wrong? She said, this is a lot. You got to give me a couple of days. When do you have to go to court? I said, I'll go to court next week. She said, well, that's enough time for me to print out all of this. She called me and said, hey, your documents are ready. I showed up to Human Resource, picked up the documents, and I said, okay, I don't need an attorney. I got everything right here. The insurance, I got the life insurance, I got a life insurance policy on myself with the kids being the beneficiary. And I got all the documents from my payroll department stating that every 2 weeks, money comes out of my check to go to my children, and it says on the document, child support. Show up to court. Judge said, are you Mr. Brooks? I said, yes. She said, well, the state of Florida is here to talk to you about child support. And I said, Your Honor, I'm confused because everything that the document that I was served with, I'm already doing. I'm already paying life insurance. I'm already paying health insurance. I'm already doing that. She get financial support from me. I don't understand this. You know, I'm here. She's not even here. In that case, the woman don't have to show up to court. After she submits the paperwork, you don't have to show up. So the judge says, well, where's the documents? I give them the life insurance, the health insurance. I give them the paperwork for the payroll department. And I give them, as a father, you have to have a life insurance policy on yourself with the kids as the beneficiary. They go on all the documents. He's going over the documents. He said, you gave her $15,000? I said, yes. It's not like I'm making it up. It's on the documents that you're looking at from my payroll department for my job. He said, you gave her $15,000? I said, yes. They're in black and white. I can't make this up. He said, well, Mr. Brooks, I'm sorry to tell you the $15,000 that you gave her was a gift. I said, excuse me? I'm not understanding what you're saying, because now it's like my whole world is flickering right now because I'm not understanding what he's saying. I said, can you explain that to me? He said, the money that you gave her from your job through the payroll department, due to the fact that it didn't come through child support and central suppository, the money you gave her was a gift. You owe the state of Florida $25,000 from back child support payments. And I just understood that you own a passport. Am I correct? I said, yes. You have 24 hours to submit your passport on my desk because you're a flight risk.
Oh, my God.
That was 18 and a half years ago. Well, roughly now 20 years ago. They took $700 a paycheck from me for 18 years times 2. I surrendered my passport. My income tax check was taken for 18 years until that $25,000 was paid off. Or you can get to $2,999. If you're $1 under 25, you can reapply for a passport. So for 18 years, I didn't have a passport. And my license was in jeopardy of being suspended for any time that I missed a child support payment. So I'm totally oblivious to what's going on because as a father, I'm thinking I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Then they tell you, you have to have life insurance, you have to have health insurance on the kids. I said, Your Honor, I'm already paying health insurance. Well, it has to be mandated from your job. In the state of Florida, you can get Florida Healthy Kids. So which means you can get Blue Cross Blue Shield, full coverage insurance for your kids based on your income. So they calculated my income for 2 kids. I was paying full coverage insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield for Florida Healthy Kids, like $45 a month. Full coverage insurance. The judge said, you will no longer be paying this. It has to be paid through your job. So the insurance went from $45 a month to roughly between $85 and $120 a month. So the exact same insurance, but now it's coming through my job through the state of Florida.
Oh my goodness.
The thing
So
about this
we're
is,
going to do screen.
I paid between $85 and $120 a paycheck for 18 years for insurance that kids never used. Roughly the 17th, 18th year, someone downtown noticed that these kids have never been sick. They never went to the doctor. Something's wrong. And I said, I've been saying this for years. You guys have been taking money from me. Kids don't even use the insurance. So I begged, plead, wrote letters, talked to people. They finally dropped the insurance. But it's a really rough system to navigate because the system is basically designed to cater to women and not to men. As years went on, things changed where men had more rights. But there was a time in my life, out of $1,800 every 2 weeks, between child support and all the other things that coming out of my check, I was coming home like $225 out of my check. So in essence, child support turned me into a hustler. It turned me into a real hustler.
So you got your grind on. So you got your grind on, and you started doing other things. But how did this affect the relationship with you and your children at all?
Yes, it did, because once the child support was set, what women don't understand is, in my case, they was taking $700 for the child support payment and insurance altogether. And then they would take the money from me and they go to Central Depository and dispense to her. But if she got any food stamps or government assistance or anything of that nature, the money they take from me, they take a portion of the money from me to go back to pay that back to the state of Florida or whatever state they live in, and then the mother is dispensed the rest. So when she received the check, she knew that it was taking $700 from me, but she wasn't getting the entire $700. But now it affects the kids because I'm only getting this amount of money from your father, so they make it hard for the man to see the children now. But you put us in this situation when I was already fulfilling my obligation as a father. So what most women don't like.
Did there ever come a time that she tried to justify or did justify why she filed and why she thought she had to go that route to get the state involved when y'all already had an agreement in place?
After we had the conversation, I basically said to her, the actions that I took to start this, if you felt like kids were getting older, they needed more, it was just a simple conversation. But again, listening to other outside influences, family members, girlfriends, co-workers, you can get more, he's a county employee, you can get more. So she went that route and it didn't work out in her best interest. They were taking more from me, but it didn't go to the children. So in essence, you hurt the children. So now, even when I want to spend time with the kids, financially, a lot of things that I would like to do, financially, I'm not able to do because that extra money is being taken from me. But what women don't understand is, once the judge says you are mandated to pay X, Y, and Z, and he hits the gavel, really, the father don't have to really do anything else because it's already mandated. But if you're a real man, you're not going to tell your kids no. You're going to find a way, at least I did, I found a way to never be able to say no to my kids in certain aspects. No matter how much I didn't have or I was short, I always found a way.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there were two things that you said you did wrong. What were those two things that you felt you should not have done?
Directly giving her the money. Prior to me going to my job, I would get money orders given to her, put the receipts in the shoebox. Because the day I showed up to court, not only did I have those documents, I had shoeboxes of money order receipts, clothing receipts, things of that nature. And they were like, as a father, that's a gift. You're supposed to do those things. But I'm thinking I'm justifying, and I can prove to you the things that I've been doing. I don't care nothing about that. So never give a woman money direct. Now times have changed a little bit where you can draft up a letter, have it notarized, both of you sign it. And that's basically a binding document between the two of you. So if somebody breaks it, you can produce this document and say, this is what we agreed on, we got to notarize. That's good, but then that can come back and bite you later also. Because if she's getting any type of government assistance, there's a bill being created. And the thing about that bill is they know where you are the minute they start giving her food stamps and government assistance and Medicaid for those children. But the game is to allow that bill to build up so much to you're financially in debt. And that's house support is a form of bad debt when you look on your credit report.
Yeah. Well, what child support and enforcement does is exactly what it is. They don't really care nothing about all that. Their job is to go after the money. They're trying to enforce the support, and that's exactly how they approach it, and which is why a lot of dads feel the way they do. So in your book, Antonio, you say that you explain that you paid it and you still made it. So how do you explain how you still made it? What came out of it for you that was victorious?
In my situation, having the money taken out of my check, and again, like I said, there was a point in time out of $1,800, I was coming home with like $225. They don't care how your light bill is going to be paid, how you have grocery, gas. Don't care nothing about none of that. The best thing that my mom could have ever taught me, and she never thought that I would take it to a whole nother level. Being the oldest out of 5, she was like, look, you got to put the football down, the basketball down. You got to learn how to cook because you're not going to always have a woman in your life. I'm not going to always be here to do these things for you. So learning how to cook was a blessing in disguise for me because I ended up opening up my own catering business. And I was catering parties. I was catering weddings. I was catering retirement parties. They got to the point where people started calling me to do repasts for funerals. So all of that helped me to still make it because basically I'm replacing the money that was being taken from me under the table. Because every 2 years a woman can go back and get an increase on child support if she can prove that you're making more money attached to your Social Security number. But money that's being made on the table, she can tell the judge, oh, hey, you got this business, you got that business, doing this, doing that. When I run a Social Security number, if that particular business or job does not come up, I can't dispense any more finance to you because on paper, she's not making any more money. So I started doing the catering and doing things under the table. I became a notary for the state of Florida. At one point in time when the housing market was very good, you can become a notary and you can become a signing agent. I realized becoming a signing agent, you get with a realtor and he calls you and says, hey, I got a closing today. And you will make 10% of whatever the closing cost is. I walk in, I need your ID, sign here, sign there, stamp. And if the closing cost is $5,000, I made $500 in 10 minutes. So I would do that 3 or 4 times a week. In some cases, when the housing market was very good, it can be almost 5 times a week, depending on whatever the closing cost is, the money that I made. And again, that money's under the table. I made that money. Nobody knew about it but me and the people I was dealing with at the time. So, I found other ways to be financially stable for the money that was being extracted from my check every 2 weeks. And the thing about it is, if you get paid 3 times in 1 month, they take the money 3 times in 1 month. They don't miss a beat.
Where are you now and that whole system?
I completely paid the $25,000 off. I'm an average poker player, and every year, when I had time, I would go to Vegas and I play poker with a group of friends. Long story short, I played in a poker tournament and I won some money. And I said, the minute I get off the plane in Miami, Florida, I'm going home. I'm going to go to the child support building, and I'm going to completely pay the balance off. And that's what I did. I paid that balance off, got a receipt, the whole nine, and it was paid off. I didn't have that halo hanging over my head again. And shortly after that, I reapplied for my passport, and I got my passport back.
What a story to tell. What a journey that was. Thank you so much, Antonio Brooks, for sharing your story. We're going to hear more about Antonio, and if you want to hear the full interview, it's going to be on YouTube, where you can hear the full interview from Antonio. He shared more information about his journey, so some funny stories, but the fact is he made it. And he continued, and although he felt he made it, he continued to struggle with child support, and which is why he is writing a part 2 of his story. But to help us, debunk all of this information and to process some of the myths that we hear from child support and dealing with child support system and child support enforcement, I've asked Attorney Charles Ford to sit in with me, to be available to talk through some of what Antonio experienced from a legal perspective and to give us some insight on the child support system. So let's welcome to the cafe Attorney Charles E. Ford, who has been practicing for a number of years in family law and now living in the Atlanta area. So welcome to the show, Charles. Good morning. How are you? So welcome to the show, Charles. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Soy. Can you hear me?
So welcome to the show, loud and clear.
Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Can you hear me? Soy? Can you hear me? Soy?
Good morning. Good morning.
Soy?
Good morning. All right, Charles, hang tight.
Good morning, Soy.
Charles, hang tight. Hang tight for a second.
Good morning, Soy.
Charles, hang tight.
Good morning, Soy.
All right, do we have Charles back right with us? Well, while we wait for Charles to rejoin us, let me give you a little more information about
Soy?
while we wait for Charles to rejoin us, let me give you a little more information about
Somebody, they said somebody,
to rejoin us. Let me give you a little more information
somebody, they said somebody,
I apologize for that. We're trying to get Charles on. I think he's using some head device, which is giving an echo. So while we wait for him to be informed of how to participate with the show, we'll go on. So Antonio's book was about his life experiences. And what I love about the book is that in the back of his book, he created tutorials and tools to help other men. He said that in the back of the book, he has
tutorials
forms,
and tools to help
he
other
has
men.
resources,
He said that in the back
phone
of the book,
numbers.
he has tutorials and tools
He stated
to
that he
help other
has
men. He said that in the back of the book,
information so that other men wouldn't have to search or work as hard to get information to assist them with their child support on their child support journey. Numbers to all of the child support entities in a variety of cities.
Try it again, Charles.
So
Okay, there. Your mute went off now, so I'm good.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah, I just want to make sure that she can hear you and respond.
Okay, because I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was on mute intentionally.
Yeah, because I couldn't hear anything. I turned off the show. I was listening to the show.
Yes, and that's going to cause feedback.
Yeah, so I turned off the show now because I couldn't hear anything. And I
Okay,
listened to Antonio Brooks. And so will I be able to hear her?
you should be able to hear her. Where are you listening at? On your TV or on your phone?
I'm on my phone right now.
You're on your phone, but you were listening on the TV as well,
Yeah, I was listening
or on
on
a
my
tablet or something.
yeah, I was on my desktop. I have a pretty big screen desktop for because we're doing Zoom now. And
Okay,
so
so mute that, but turn up
it's
the volume on your speaker on your phone, and then you
yeah.
should be able to hear us.
Yeah, I'm up full. I'm full
Okay.
on the phone
All right, you can
and
hear me now, so we're
clear.
gonna bring Dawn back in.
Okay.
So if you want to get a copy of Antonio's book, do find him on Amazon.com. You can Google the book. I was able to find it easily, and I'm waiting for my autographed copy in the mail. So again, the name of the book is Child Support: How I Paid It and Still Made It. Author Antonio Brooks.
All
All
right,
right.
try it again, Dawn.
I think we worked through our technical difficulties, and I think we have Attorney Charles Seaford back in the studio. So let's bring him in and bring him in on the conversation. Good morning, Charles. All right, Charles, are you ready to work through these myths and to get to the bottom of this and talk about what happened with this child support catastrophe that
You're on mute again.
so
I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I don't know that we're going to be able to bring Charles on. I was ready. We had questions coming in. People are asking questions about child support. They're asking questions about what happens if I'm paying child support, right? I'm paying child support and I get married. Now, what happens to that reported income? Does it change if I get married? Is my wife now expected to contribute to my child support? Does that vary in different states? Is that a federal law? Is that a state law? So that's a really good question. We'd like to get some answers to that. If someone has any personal experience or opinion about that, then they can go ahead and share that in one of the chat rooms. But the question that a listener has, if he is paying child support and he gets married, is the income of his spouse, his new wife, factored into the child support equation? And if so, is that a state law, which varies from state to state, or is that a federal law? So that's a really good question. Hang tight. Hopefully, Charles can answer that question when we get him back.
I would love to answer that question.
Oh, well, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back.
How you doing, Soy?
I'm good.
That's a great question. It's not so much a federal law, but each state handles how they collect child support differently. But if you get remarried, will your spouse's income be considered? In most cases, no. Okay, it's basically based on your income and your ability to pay. Now, they will take into consideration, now that you have a spouse that's sharing your household expenses and those types of things, that they will definitely take that into consideration. But to see a increase in your payment for child support, it's really not based on who you're married to. It's based on your income itself. So I don't want people to be out there thinking, well, I'm not going to get married because now I'm going to pay more in child support. That's not how the system works. The system works based on how much money you make, how much income you make, and how free that income is for you to use and be at your disposal.
And so but in taking into consideration that's good to know. So ladies, go ahead and marry him. You all good. You clear. Your money is safe. That's where the question really came from. I don't think it was a guy's question. I think
Yeah, you thought it was a lady. It was a lady's question, huh?
yeah,
Well, that's
see?
good. That's good. But I just really but they will take it in consideration that you do have more disposable income. But as far as seeing a big increase in your child support, no.
Now let's talk about this myth. So I too have been led to believe.
Before you ask me another question, I just want to commend Mr. Brooks because he was a conscientious father. Even though he had some hurdles to overcome and go over, he made it work, and he realized the money he was paying was in the best interest of his children. And I just want to, as an attorney, and as a person who's been in his shoes as well, I just want to commend him for what he was doing as a father.
So what should he have done differently?
Well, I think the money that he did contribute to her outside of the child support system should have been taken into consideration. I know that I practice in the state of Michigan, and also I practice in the state of Georgia. And I think through specific legal means, he could, because he had receipts and he can show that the money went directly toward the children, he should have gotten some type of compensation or some type of credit for the money that he had been paying. So I don't know where it came from that he just gave a gift. That wasn't a gift. That was money to support his children. And I think there should have been some type of legal means taken for him to get credit for the money that he had already contributed to the children. So anything differently, I think he did the right thing. I think he felt he was doing the right thing, but I think he should have somehow got some legal help to see how he could get credit for. And I think, especially in a court of equity, that's what most jurisdictions are. He should have got some type of equitable compensation and credit for the $15,000 that he had already contributed to the mother.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm sure that's going to give some dads some relief, some men some relief. My heart broke when I heard him say that. I was like, what? Yeah.
Because if I would have been his attorney, I would have fought vehemently to have that $15,000 credited as money that was going toward the children, especially when he has receipts of that nature to show the judge.
Well, y'all hear that? He said he would have fought for his client. So good. So this man gonna fight for you. So if you're in need of an attorney in family law and you're in the state of Georgia or Michigan, do look him up, Attorney Charles E. Ford. Now, before we go on with further communication, Charles, you want to share your contact information where people can reach you, your office number, and things of that nature?
Office, telephone number, even my background and types of things that I've done. So that's all I have to share with you. And their contact is real easy: www.attorneycharlesford.com.
Okay, that's the start. That's all you need to contact them. So, Charles, so the next question that we have is, he made a comment also that there is, so we want clarity basically about this direct system. So apparently, is what the fathers pay actually going to the children, or is that amount disseminated in other means?
Well, it depends. Now, as he mentioned, if the mother uh, or the custodial parent is receiving some type of benefits from the state, such as child support, Section 8 for housing, even some type of monetary support, they're going to hold somebody responsible for that, and the father will be held responsible for it. Now, that may end up turning into something called arrears, but based on state guidelines, only 4 to 5% of the total arrears can be collected from you each month. So, and as far as insurance, hopefully most fathers or people who are working, who are paying child support, have insurance coverage through their employer. That way they can put the children on it and they will not have to pay any additional costs as far as child support. But anything that the state is contributing to the children, they can hold the fathers responsible for. Now, to give the father some relief, if let's say you have $15,000 of arrears that you owe to the state itself, not to the mother or the custodial parent. If you have $15,000, you can go in and talk to the state, and if you have one lump sum amount that you can pay, like $6,000 or $7,000, they may erase all $15,000 of those arrears because they want to collect something. For example, I had a case in my client lived in Alaska, used to live in Michigan. He got caught with about $30,000 in arrears and past child support. Most of that was owed to the state of Michigan, and I was able to negotiate a deal where if he could pay $12,000 cash, the $30,000 was done away with.
Okay. Well, that's
So.
good to know. Yeah.
So you can talk to and work with your state agency to see if you can reduce the amount of arrears that you do owe as far as child support.
Another question. Can you explain the difference between child support court and family court?
Well, it's really not different. Child support is a subset of family court. Judges want to have a body out there that takes a look at, we call it the friend of the court in Michigan, they call it the child support court here in agency here in Georgia. But the judges want a body out there that can look at the factors that are involved in determining child support and have that organization or entity give them a recommendation. So the child support and friend of the court is a subset of family court, because family court is where you go to get your divorce if you have children or no children. Okay, so there's going to be different recommendations that are going to be made if you do have children. So the family court, Superior Court in Georgia, Circuit Court in Michigan, they will look to get that information so they can make determinations as to how much support a person should be paying.
Okay. And in most cases, they have a formula or worksheet or something that they calculate.
Oh yeah, they have a formula. and I want to talk a little bit about the formula. The formula really is based on how much money the non-custodial parent or the person who's paying child support is making. You don't see a lot of change based on how much money the custodial parent or the person receiving child support is making. I just put an example together for your show, was that if both individuals make $1,000, the person who's paying child support makes $1,800 a month, that person's child support is still going to be right around $190 a month. So you can see that the person who's receiving child support, their salary doesn't have a big effect, that much of effect on how much a person is paying for child support. So it's really how much money does the person who's paying child support, the non-custodial parent, is making. So if a person thinks that a person is making way more money than them and they shouldn't receive child support, that's not the right conclusion to make. They're looking at what would be your contribution to the children's welfare and what's in their best interest.
Charles, can you repeat that again? You explaining that if both of the parents made $1,000, how would that break down?
Okay, if both of the parents are making $1,000 a month, each, the person who's paying child support, or I call them the non-custodial parent, will pay about $245 a month for one child. I'm not saying two, just for one child. Okay. Then if that person who's receiving child support or the custodial parent, their salary somehow just goes up to like $1,800 a month, you're only going to see a reduction of about $30 or $40 in child support. It's going to be right around $190. So you can see that the custodial parent or the person receiving child support, their income doesn't play a big factor as to how much the person is going to pay child support. So if you're thinking that that person makes way more money than me, I shouldn't pay child support. No, you're going to pay child support. It may be reduced a little, but you're going to pay.
So let's say that the order is set, and the dad has an issue, as most dads do, have an issue with it.
Whoa! I take offense. No, that's okay. Most dads don't have issues. There are dads that really do what they are supposed to do. There's some dads have issues.
Okay, let me define what I meant by issue, meaning
Okay.
that they are doing more than what is required, and they feel that they're being treated unfairly with the system, and that they may need to go back and address some things that were in the order that came, which I think they err in always communicating with the child support office and not taking it back to family court. Can you clarify
they need to take it to the judge.
Okay.
If this is the key word that I think fathers and all people who are paying child support, if there is a substantial change in circumstances, you should always go back to the court, especially if it's in your benefit. If your if you get laid off, if your income is reduced, even if that person who you're paying child support to is making more money, you should take it back so you can have a reduction in your child support. So that substantial change in circumstances is a key word and concept that individuals should keep in mind. So if you think you're paying too much based on a situation, then you should take it to court and go back and take it to court in front of a judge to see if you can get a reduction.
Okay, men hear that.
And that last statement I made, Soy, was just really kind of that was really kind of being a joke when I said that most fathers and everything. That was really supposed to be my way of having humor with you.
Oh, it's good. I can handle it. I got tough skin. I know it looks silky on the screen, but I got tough skin. I
can believe that. I can believe that.
All right. Okay. So what are some other myths that are out there, and some other things that you want to share with some of these dads before we close out the show?
Yeah, I just want folks to know that about 15, 16, 17 years ago, they shut down the whole child support system to go on a nationwide system. It used to be if a person was paying child support in Michigan, they moved to Georgia, it was hard to catch up with them. And so they kind of led a free life free of child support. So they shut the whole system down throughout the whole country, and it went on a national system. And so now if your social security number shows up on any job in the country, child support in whatever state you came from is going to come looking for you. So the best thing to do is to face up to, if you owe child support, is to deal with it. And that's what Mr. Brooks did. And I'm really, like I said, really proud of what he did. Not a myth, but I think there's something that everybody should know is that if you are behind in your child support, there's a chance that your license in that particular state can be suspended. I'm talking not just driver's license, but your medical license, your law license, those types of things can be suspended. So you really need to take a look at making arrangements and paying something. Now, one thing that hasn't come up, but it's happening more and more, is that there are third parties who have custody of the children. Sometimes grandparents, sometimes a close friend, sometimes a brother or sister. That person can receive child support from both parents. From both parents. If you have custody of those individuals' children, and for whatever reason, as a grandparent, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, you can go in and receive ask for child support. Um, and so some of the myths that are out there, you can, well, there's not a myth. I just want to give some good information that like I said, you can go in and you can ask for the state or the receiving party to reduce your child support or do away with some of your arrears. That can happen. A lot of people think that when I have arrears, I can't do anything about it. That's not true. What you can do, you can negotiate with the state, or you can negotiate with the party that you owe the child support to.
Well, we
Yeah,
have another question that came
and
up.
another thing, a lot of couples are choosing not to go through the child support system. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, share that. Share that. I'd like to hear that.
What's that?
Yeah, I know. Share that. Go ahead, share that.
Yeah, a lot of parties cannot go through the child support system. And this is something that I encourage, that the parties work it out, that you decide how much child support, what the visitation arrangements are going to be, and not even go through the child support system if you can work it out. And a lot of couples are doing that. They're saying, okay, we're not making it, but it's in the best interest of the children. Let's pay, you pay me $500 a month and I can make it, or you paid half on the house payment, or you pay for the children's school clothing or whatever. Work it out. To me, that's two parents who realize that they're in this together and for the best interest of the children. And you don't have an outside entity telling you how to do things. Now, if that doesn't work, you can, then go in and file for child support. And another thing I like to share also, Soy, is that arrears do not start until an action is filed.
Oh.
Okay. So let's say you guys have been separated for a year and it's just not working out, and one of the parties goes in the following year, files for a divorce, and now we can talk about child support. That child support does not start until that action is filed, because the court system is going to say, hey, they must be working it out. Everything must be okay. So we're not going to go back and say, okay, you guys have been divorced for a year. You have arrears now because you haven't been paying child support. There has to be an action that the court can act upon before child support can start. And it happens a lot when you have children when parents who are not married have a child. You have to go in and file for child support. You have to go in and file for visitation rights, and that will not start until you actually file. So sometimes a child could be 4, 5, 6 years old, and the mother finally says, hey, I need child support, and then they go in and file for child support. She can't go back now and say, I want support for the last 5 years. She only can get support when that action starts.
Okay. Good information.
Do you have any other questions out there, Soy?
One last question, and the other ones will continue on one of the social media channels. But the last question we're going to take is, if a person has shared custody or more visitation, does that decrease the child support amount?
Yeah, that's a great question. I want to take a minute. If you get joint physical custody of the child, a lot of people think that just says you don't pay child support. No, that's not the case. The case is one parent may make more money. Say one makes $2,000 a month, the other one makes $1,000 a month. The person even though you have shared custody, the person that is making $2,000 a month is going to be paying child support to the other person, even though they have shared custody. It won't be as much if they didn't have shared custody, but they will be paying something.
Well, good. Well, Attorney Charles Ford, we thank you so much for hanging out here with us on the show, and I thank you for just
Hello, Soy.
pushing through your technical difficulties to be a part of this show. So thank you so much for
Oh, I
being my
wanted to
guest.
be a part of this
Yeah.
show, and I want you to ask me to come back. We can talk about child support. One of the issues I definitely want to talk about that is happening more is about probate when people die or pass away with or without a will, and some of the estate planning that people can do to prevent having to get involved in the court system when somebody passes away. So I really would like to come back on your show and we can talk about child support and custody some more, but I would definitely like to have a time where we talk about probate issues as well.
Okay. All right, we will do that. We will do that. We'll definitely send you an invite. So thank you so much for being our guest, and you enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, y'all, this has been a very interactive and emotional show, I'm sure, for some. And I hope that you've gotten a lot of information from what was shared. Do check out the book that was provided and written. Antonio poured his heart out into that, so it's good information. And as he said, there's resources in the back of the book for you. So it's not just a read about. There is some work pieces in the back to help you work through your situation. Also, don't forget Attorney Charles E. Ford. He can be reached through his website, Attorney Charles E. Ford. So check him out. You can find him. He practices in Atlanta as well as in Michigan. So he is readily available. So definitely look him up. And he's knowledgeable and easy to talk to. So check him out. Check him out. All right, y'all. You know, I want to just share something with you before we head out and shut down this show for today. One, I want to thank you all for just hanging with us through those little quirks that we had to work through. But we got through it. That's what's most important. We got through it, and we still got you the information. So thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for hanging in here and supporting this network. I also want to thank a guy who has been hanging out with me, and he's tirelessly working in the background to make this happen. And I don't know that you all have formally met him, but let me just introduce the mastermind, the technical genius, the show engineer, Mel. Are you there? I want you all to meet Mel, and I want him to say good morning. Look at him. Hey, Mel, how are you? You hanging in there?
I am. Give me just a second. Obviously, we have technical issues.
All right. So while he do what he do, let me share some information with you. And I want to also drop some pieces of some things to think about, y'all. That there comes a time in our life where we got to just reset and regroup. I mean, even clearly, right? Clearly with technology, there's sometimes that your computer's acting crazy, or your iPhone or your Android, whatever you working, is acting kind of weird, and you find that I need to just shut it off, right? You have to shut it off, reboot it, and let it start. Even throughout the courses of our day, we find that we need to sleep, right? And sleep is supposed to restore us. That's the whole purpose of going to bed, going to sleep, shutting it down so your body can rejuvenate itself. You can have some restored energy. You can be at rest. Well, there are things and places and situations in our lives that cause us to be at rest. As we see, the pandemic that's been more than a year has put us at rest, right? It's caused us to stop and to slow down. Everything has a place where it needs to reset. And so does Coffee Talk with Soy. So I would like to say that, I would like to share that we're going to take a rest break. We are going to take a rest break. We're going to take some time to, have some R&R. I've been grinding since the pandemic has happened, and Mel has been hanging in there with me as well. So we're going to go on vacation. And I'm looking forward to laying on the beach. I'm looking forward to some quiet time. I'm looking forward to reflecting. I'm looking forward to all of the R and R's and R's and R's that come with that restore period, right? And I started thinking about those things, and I started thinking that I would use this opportunity to refresh, revive, regroup, reassemble, rethink, recalculate, refine, right? Refine, reset, recalibrate, recount, reset, reevaluate, and reassess. And I'm looking forward to doing that. And so what that means is that you'll see Soy. I'll be around. Coffee Talk with Soy, the platform will be there. But we won't have weekly shows, weekly podcast shows as we have been doing. So we're going to take this time off to regroup and rethink and enjoy some R&R and then come back with something new for you. So I wanted you to see Mel. I wanted to publicly thank Mel. He has been just an awesome support to this platform. So his business is the producer of things, and he is the producer of things. So reach out to him. He's available on social media. Just don't take my
I'm
time.
around.
Yeah, don't take
I'm
my
around.
time. Don't take my time, but you can get some time. Don't take my time. But Mel, I wanted to publicly thank you for partnering with me on this venture. It's been an amazing journey. And I've so enjoyed and have learned so much from working with you.
As I have as well. I learned a lot of new things that I hadn't done before the pandemic, but we learned together, and so now it's a skill set I can add to the resume. So I'm looking forward to what this restorative break has to offer, and maybe I'll focus on my photography a little bit more as well.
All right. Well, there you have it, Mel Burton. You can reach him at melburtonimages.com. He is the producer of things.
Of things.
Of things. Stuff, right? Stuff.
Of stuff.
Yeah. So you guys know where to find me. CoffeeTalkWithSoy.com is the platform that is generated and designed to inspire, give people hope, and help people. And we will continue to do that on and off the air. So don't forget about us, CoffeeTalkWithSoy.com. I will not forget about you, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. And you have an awesome Saturday and an awesome summer vacation.
I just love this show, Coffee Talk with Soy. That is your new morning show where real talk happens every Saturday at 10 a.m. I'd like to thank the listeners and the guests for joining me in the cafe today. What
Mel,
a
can you still hear
wonderful
me?
time we had. Yes, indeed. Don't forget to download the app Coffee Talk with Soy from your app store. It's available on iTunes and Google Play. Stay connected, folks, by visiting the website coffeetalkwithsoy.com, as well as looking for us under your social media sites. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under the name Coffee Talk with Soy. Remember, the size of the problem is never the issue. Remember, it's the size of you. Be great because you are awesome. Tell them Soy said so. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.